Hey everybody, it's Nina from Mama Nina Cooks. And today, as promised, I'm going to make my chicken and dumplings. I can't take credit for this recipe. This is an old family recipe that I've had for about 35 years. All right, now we're gonna make our dumplings. So this is our bowl, and to this we're going to add 1 beaten egg, I'll lightly beat it, doesn't have to be a lot. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. So I'm going to use olive oil. And then we're going to add a cup of milk. And this is whole milk. And then we're going to whisk this together. Okay, we're going to add a little salt to this. Let's see, it calls for half a teaspoon. And enough flour to make a stiff dough. Okay, so let's stir up that salt in here. So enough flour to make a stiff dough. So there's half a cup. There's another half. We're gonna add some baking powder to this too, but I wanted to get the flour in first. That's 3 half cups. So that's a cup and a half. And then a half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm gonna use a heaping. Okay, now we'll start that with a fork. My hands are clean, so we're about to use them in this a lot. All right, so here's another heaping half cup, and I know I'm going to need another one. I can tell. So we were at 1.5. We're at 2.5 cups of flour. And it's still looking loose. We don't want to over-mix this, but I know we're going to need more. So another half a cup. You guys counting? I think I've lost count. I think we're at 3 now. Just kind of folding it. Okay, so that's looking pretty stiff. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Then I'm going to put it on my board. Okay, so we've got wax paper down. We're going to put some flour down on the wax paper. Get our hands floured up. Still not as stiff as I'd like it, but I think by the time we get all the flour from the bowl in there, it will be fine. Okay, see? So you just can feel it. It's a tad bit sticky. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more on top of that. Okay, now we're going to roll this out under our wax paper. So I've got my rolling pin. I'm going to dust it a little bit with some flour. I've had this rolling pin for as long as I've been making this recipe or longer. 30 years or more, 35. Oh no, I lose count. So we're just going to roll it out. I'm going to turn it over and make sure we've got flour underneath it. We don't want it to stick. I think rolling dough is fun. It's not that hard. It's kind of fun. Oh, do you guys think it's fun? Is it just me? Okay. Okay, that's about how we like it. Just not too thin, not too thick, just like that. Okay. Whoops, sorry. So we're going to sprinkle the top a little bit with some flour. And now we're going to cut these. Now I like to use a pizza cutter. And I'm just going to cut strips. And then I'm going to cut this way so that we have little rectangular strips of dough. Okay. Now we're going to drop these into the stock that's boiling on the stove. It's actually simmering. So I'll take you over there. Okay, so here's our stock. Look how rich it looks. I added some water to it too. I'll put the measurements in the description below for you. Now we're going to add a can of cream of chicken soup. Okay, and we're going to whisk that in. Okay, bring it to a boil. Okay, we're going to add our chicken in because once we put our dumplings in there, we don't want to be doing a lot of stirring because it'll tear them up. So we'll put our chicken in. And I'm going to add a little black pepper. I'm not going to add salt till the end because we've got this broth in here and it might be salty enough, and you can't take it out once you have too much. But you can always add more, so I always wait till the end. All right, so let's keep this at a simmer, like a low rolling boil, and we're just going to start adding our dumplings. Okay, so we're just going to tear them apart and add them to the broth. I mean the stock, sorry. Okay. Now, once I get a bunch in here, I'm going to stir it. Ow, be careful because I just splashed myself. I need to make bloopers because I would have plenty of them. I almost got the wax paper on fire a couple of minutes ago. I'm going to show you guys all my errors. I'm not perfect by any means, but that just goes to show you that you can do it too. This is not the perfect cooking show. I say that all the time. All right. Getting all of our dumplings in here. They came out just perfectly. They're not too stiff and they're not too loose or sticky. They're just right. That never happens. They're usually too sticky and I'm usually peeling them off the wax paper. You can make them any size you want. This is the size we like. So you can make them long and thin. You can make them thinner, thicker. Let's see, here's my spoon. Okay. You don't have to worry about where you place them. They're all going to be, they'll all get cooked. Okay, that's our dumplings. So, let's put the lid on. And we're gonna bring it to a boil and simmer it for about 15 minutes. Okay, so every now and then you want to look in here and kind of push them down. Keep it low so it doesn't overflow. And then we'll put the lid back on. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. It looks so good. Okay, we're going to add a little bit more pepper. And then we'll taste it for salt too. See if it needs any salt. Make sure there's nothing stuck on the bottom. Let's taste it for salt. Yeah, it's going to need a little salt. Okay. I made a slurry with just a little flour and water. I'm going to pour that in here. And that should thicken it. Okay, that's getting nice and thick now. Okay, so let's dish some up. We're back. Okay, we're going to taste this. It smells great. Now this will thicken up more and more as it cools. It's still hot. It smells so good. It smells so chickeny. Is that a word? Chickeny. I added a little parsley on top chopped Italian parsley. Really hot. You guys, you gotta make this. Oh, please. Please make it and then comment below and let me know how you liked it, okay? It's not difficult. You saw what I did, right? It's quick and easy, and your family's gonna go crazy over this. I made some for my nephew once and he went bonkers. So good. Such a great recipe. Please try it. Okay. So good. One more bite and then I'm going to tell you a story. Just a quick one. I'll get into my other stories later, but I don't want to bore you guys, but I have a lot of stories. And those who just stayed for the cooking part can leave if they don't want to hear stories, but I got some good ones. So good, you guys. Chicken and dumplings. Lola Pitts chicken and dumplings. Thank you, Lola. Okay, here's my story. Ready? It's another Nick story. I have other stories that aren't about Nick, but here it is. So when Nick was about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 again, we were in line in the car at the drive-through bank. And he was in his car seat, and we were inching forward until it was our turn, and there was these 2 little old ladies, cute little old ladies next to us in a car. And they were inching forward right alongside us. And they kept looking at Nick and waving, and he was laughing at him and kind of, you know, being really friendly and smiling at them and laughing back, and they kept on. And so I rolled my window down, and Nick said, "How did you guys get so old?" Out of the mouths of babes, right? Okay, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being patient with me. I really appreciate you being here. I think I'm going to start a blooper thing too if I can figure out how to do it, because I got plenty of them. So this is not the perfect cooking channel by any means. I make lots of mistakes. I forget stuff. But it's just to make you know that you could do this too. So I hope that you cook for someone you love this week. When you cook something homemade for someone, it really shows that you care. So I hope you do that this week, and remember that if I can do this, you can do it for sure. Anyway, thanks. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks. Bye. See you next time. Chicken and dumplings. Yay. So I found out who Lola Pitts is. 2 of my family members texted me. Thank you, Debbie and Aaliyah. So Lola Pitts was my son's dad's uncle's wife's mother. So thank you, Lola, for the great recipe, and may you rest in peace.